you know, what flows out of that in terms of ministry, for me personally as a pastor, is suddenly now I have a dividing line. I've got language to discern idolatry, to talk about idolatry as a source of trouble in someone's life. Here's the problem. You are the one who hopes in him will never be disappointed. As opposed to, you're hoping here and it's going to fail you over and over and over again. This is the gospel. Treasure him as your one sure hope. And that language has given me the ability to just say, this is really an issue of idolatry. This goes all the way, and then what you can tease, the mine you can tease out of the Old Testament and out of the stories in Genesis and Exodus and Moses' books. It's been a gift. We've got vocabulary is everything. We have a vocabulary.
I was talking the other day with whom, don't remember, about if you lose the language for something, you lose the something.
That's exactly right.
For example, I mean, just if a kid doesn't know the word chivalry, he doesn't know chivalry. When certain words go out of our vocabulary, the reality goes out of our vocabulary, out of our lives.
Yeah.
So if you bring back in, say the word, make the word treasure a verb.
Yeah.
15 years ago, 20 years ago, I hardly ever remember hearing the word treasure as a verb. I've labored to make treasure a verb. Synonymous with faith.
Yeah.
To believe in Jesus for salvation is to treasure him. And you get it from, Matthew 13:44, treasure found in a field. Jesus is the treasure. He's the pearl of great price. What do you do with the pearl? You treasure the pearl. Yeah. Above all things, you sell anything to have this pearl. I want my pearl.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And do you sense, is this just me from my corner of the woods, or do you sense that in some spheres there is a little bit of an anti-intellectualism? Maybe in America, maybe in the church, but that's my sense, is that there's a bifurcation. You cannot have mind and heart. So if you've got to choose, God's concerned about our heart, so get rid of the mind, because knowledge puffs up, but the fact that they work in concert,
yeah.
and that vocabulary and thoughtfulness and study matter.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a constant push against that
Well,
that I almost feel like I have to be ashamed of.
Well, you don't need to be ashamed of.
But you know what that's the cultural winds that blow. Is that right? Are you sensing that too?
I would say I'm sensing a rediscovery of the necessity of both and.
Yeah.
My life, I have tried from the beginning of my ministry to say we're a both and church. We are a head and heart church. We are a thinking, feeling church. We are a doxological and a doctrinal church. We do theology and reflection for the sake of affection over and over. I'm just hammering home. You dare not, you may not choose between the life of the mind and the life of the heart. So America is historically anti-intellectual. There have always been little clusters of pockets, but the world, say Europe, views America as thin and anti-intellectual. I'm not so skeptical about America, because we also have 40% of our people in church and they have 2% of their people in church. Why is that? It's because the affections really matter. And the awakenings in the global south today are not awakenings in the university, they're awakenings among churches where the emotions are acknowledged to be really important. We want to be happy. People are head and heart. People have minds and they have souls. And so I think the Christian hedonism piece that I mentioned earlier is part of pulling together head and heart.
Yeah.
So I've written a whole slug of books. So it looks like I'm a reflector, and I am. I'm a thinker. Maybe I sit at home and try to figure out texts, but I'm always pleading with the Lord, oh God, set me on fire with this kindling. If this is a new stick that I've seen in the text, burn the stick. Make it burn, because otherwise, who cares? The world doesn't want your theology. They don't want your dry, dead doctrine. Everybody who's wired whole is a so what person.
Yeah, That's right.
They're going to, so what?
That's
If
right.
you come with a big doctrine of God or unconditional election or limited atonement or perseverance of the saints, I said every day in seminary when my teachers were talking, so what? And I meant, so what for my soul, so what for marriage, so what for the world, so what for a satisfied affection for God. And so to this day, I'm a so what guy. I'm doing doctrine, I'm writing books, because I really believe with all my heart that God has ordained for the life of the mind to put the kindling on the fire of faith.
Amen. That's great. That's really helpful.